And after having understood all the truth and having pondered over the message of Islam so repeatedly, what is happening that we still, in our day-to-day lives, have not yet adopted all that which is being preached? Are we so forgetful? Are we doing it purposely? Or are we now satisfied that we are religious? And therefore, whatever we do is holy because we are holy? These are the questions which come to our mind, thinking that we are listening to so many lectures, so many majalis, yet very little seems to have changed. The fact is that one of the factors which governs our day-to-day lives today is that we have forgotten, and we tend to forget, that we have come to this world one day to go away and to die. It does not mean that I would like to prove myself morbid so that we only talk of death, but that which is imminent and no doubt it is going to come one day must be remembered off and on, and that is the final day and the final breath, which every one of us will one day take when the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reach. وَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. When the destined time will come, it cannot go ahead by a second of time, fraction of time, nor can it be delayed. It will come, and on that very day, very time, there will be departure from this earth. This we tend to forget. In the wasiyat and the will which Imam Ali alayhi salam salawatullah wa salamu alayhi prepared in the name of his own son, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, which is there in Nahjul Balagha, he writes, "O my son, innaka at-taridul maut." Tarada means to expel, to cause someone to run away. Taridul maut means you are running, being followed by your death. That means for some time, maut and death has allowed you a loose run. فَلَا يَفُوتُهُ هَارِبُهُ. But one who is running away can never escape the control of death. فَلَا بُدَّ مُدْرِكٌ هُوَ. There is no doubt that it one day will come and overwhelm him. وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Even if you were to hide in fortresses which have been entrenched and fortified, death will come even there. So this we tend to forget. In the busy lives that we are leading, everyone tends to believe that death is still very far away from me. Others may die, but I will not. And one never knows when this will come. While we see every day, and we hear stories, especially in these days, that a man was walking and he fell down. A man woke up in the morning for namaz and had some pain and he died. A man talked to his family and his friends, went in his car and died. We see people die, young and old, yet we tend to believe this will happen to him, it will not happen to me. That is one thing. All of us. I'm talking in terms of human psychology. Second thing which has really made us forget all that we hear in Muharram, Ramadan and all over is what is called greed, tama', hirs. that we follow the philosophy of the Western people who tell us that you must be ambitious, that you must be aggressive, that this world is all in all. If you are to be successful, you must be the richest man on earth. While Islam does not say that you must not earn, what Islam says is when all that we do in this world becomes all in my mind, there are no other values in life but money making, no other values. Not even children's education, we don't care as long as money comes in. If my son can bring in pounds or dollars, then I will not care about his education as long as he is an earning factor. Everything is in terms of money. I am sorry to say that even relationship between husband and wife in this country of late is now being governed by money. That means there was a time when the relationship between man and wife was the holiest relation, the most sacred relation. Today it is governed by pounds, shillings and pence. The wife thinks that in this country I am an independent earner, and therefore whether it is halal for me or haram, whether I have real access to it or I don't, but the half of it belongs to me. Because the British government will always back me in the court. As for akhirat, who has seen? All that which is coming into my control is haram. I do not have any right to it. Yet a woman today thinks that I am now having, if not an upper hand, an equal hand with my husband because I live in the Western world. And therefore, the relationship between man and wife, I say this, people may not like it, but the fact is that we can substantiate cases which we have dealt with where the bone of contention is pounds, shillings and pence and dollars and cents. We have gone down to that mentality because we believe that this world is all in all, and the more we get. In Gujarati, there is a very good proverb where we say, Koni upar nu mad. If you apply here honey onto your elbow, then try to lick it. You will never be able to lick. Don't try, you will get tired. You see? But all of us have got a blob of honey here, early morning till night. And one day, it will be as-salat for namaz mayyit, but he is still trying to lick it. We are all with this koni par nu mad. You see, on the elbow there is a drop of honey. You are all trying to, you will never be able to. And whether the west or the east, the north or the south, whether you believe it or you don't believe in it, the control of your rizq is in the hands of Almighty Allah subhanahu. Whether you like it, you don't like it. You may come and sit with me and argue for the whole night that one has got to be aggressive, one has got to be confident. All right, let us agree to disagree. Let us see the world how it proves to you. With all your intellect, with all your planning, with all your careful and meticulous working, the end will tell you as to where have we reached. You will not reach beyond what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined. So why not understand, and why not make your life easy, and why not make yourself comfortable rather than go for all the miseries to learn the hard way? That is one. So in the same wasiyat, Imam Ali alayhi salam tells his son, وَإِيَّاكَ أَن تَغْتَرَّ بِإِخْلَادِ الدُّنْيَا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. When you see the people who treat this world as eternal, do not get misled. We see people who treat this world as eternal. This is all in all. This is the yardstick of success. If you have money, you are a successful person. You may be an intelligent man. You may have all the perfections in you. You are not a man to be counted in society. But if you may be a number one cheater, a number one scoundrel, but if you have money, everybody will stand for you. Your word will be listened to because you have money. But you don't have money, nobody listens to you. You are not placed anywhere. This is society at large. I'm not talking of any particular community. A fool goes in for a wise man because he has got money. And a very intelligent person is taken for a ride as a fool because he has no money. And nobody listens to him. Because this is what we have done, and this is how we are measuring the people, and the West is telling us the same way. We look at the rosy pictures painted by the economics of this world and we believe. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows His power, then all those great ivory towers collapse before us. At that time, we say, oh, it can happen this way also. It happens. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 20th century has repeatedly shown us great giants and monsters fall like a castle of cards. If you ask them what happened, they will tell you, we were trying to run before we knew how to walk. We were trying to make turn over, and then we overturned. And exactly what has happened in our society also. Everybody is now trying to see that he gets the maximum out of this, and in so doing, halal, haram, jaiz, najaiz, values in life, literature, philosophy, writing, thinking, reading, ibadat, anything you take which has got an extraordinary value, we have forgotten. We have got no time for it. The only time that we have is early morning. One can rise to open his tobacconist shop at 6 o'clock, sometimes 5 o'clock. Tell him to sit down for 15 minutes to read Quran or ponder our Quran. He has no time. But he has time to rise for that money which he will earn, because that is his bread, that is his blood. When any community takes this as its value, then that community is a dead community, because it has got no other values in life except pound, shillings. You talk to him in terms of religion, you talk to him in terms of Payghambar and Aimma alayhimus salam, he comes there to make a transaction with Imam Hussain alayhis salam. That all right, I will give this much for Nazar, this much for Minnat, this much for Chartar, this much for Niyaz, and I will enter Jannat with all the haram that I do on this world. He is deceiving himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be deceived. This is the result of our greed. Then we come to ask, and Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam said, In kunta turidu min ad-dunya ma yakfik. It's something which sometimes, with those simple words, what Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, makes you actually think for days and days at what did he want to say. He says, In kunta turidu min ad-dunya ma yakfik, fa inna aysara minha yakfik. If you have made an intention that you will take from this world that which is enough, then the simplest and the smallest supply from this world is enough. Provided you make an intention that I have come to only take that which is sufficient and enough. Then very few things are enough for you. وَلَكِنْ إِذَا تُرِيدُ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا مَا لَا يَكْفِيكَ فَكُلٌّ فِيهَا لَا يَكْفِيكَ. But if you have come with the intention of drinking the water from all the oceans, the whole world, whatever is there, then whatever may be given to you will never be sufficient. It will never be sufficient. And the Prophet said, if man were given 2 vast fields full of gold, he will ask Allah for the third one. The Prophet said, 2, وَإِذَا كَانَ لِلْمَرْءِ وَادِيَانْ مُمْتَلِئَانْ بِالذَّهَبِ سَيَطْلُبْ مِنَ اللَّهِ ثَالِثًا, the Prophet said. If he had two wadis, means great fields, full of gold, he will one day say, Ya Allah, still one is missing. This is our position. It does not stop us from earning. It does not stop us from having all the sufficiency. It stops us from going to become mad after this world, beyond the limit where sufficiency has been granted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We go beyond it to harm our health, to harm our family, to harm our children, to harm our friends, to harm our family, our immediate family. All because of this. A shop is opened. A boy who is coming to Imam Bara every day, is coming on Sunday morning, cannot come because he has opened a tobacconist shop. Early morning at 5 o'clock, he has to rise to count the papers. And he shuts the doors at 8 o'clock. After Maghrib, if it is winter. And then he says, Mullah Sahib, I am so tired. Oh, I pray 7 rakat of Maghrib Isha with great effort. That means ihsan. If this is how the community is being convinced that we, the community people, will become very good, will become rich, will become advanced, because we have such dukawalas, then we are really mistaken, because we have taken up a line where there is no value in life but money making at the expense of so many things if you count, apart from religion. And it is my reading, and there is no mistake about it, that, and this I say because I'm speaking to the community, and I always believe that this member has got to have some utility for practical life. I have come to believe, and there is no mistake about it, that gradually education level in this community has deteriorated. And we have come to a stage where no one wants to get educated simply because the new currency notes can come in. If you take a statistic, you'll find that those families whose children came to learn to this country or in America or in India or Pakistan while the parents lived in East Africa, the same families who can get free education in this country are not availing of the opportunity, and the boys are getting employed so that the money can roll in. This is exactly what is going on at the moment all over UK. And if you don't believe in it, please go out and find out. You'll be surprised. Because the value is money. It is said, and I think I've said it once, that once Harun Rashid said, can we find out someone in the whole of at least Islamic empire in those days who can say that I have heard the Prophet, at least, even he may be about 150, 200 years old. Is there anyone who could tell us that he has heard the Prophet? People said, Harun, this is not possible. Because nearly a century has passed now, more than a century. Harun said, but we can. Sometimes there can be an old man. So they tried to hunt from here and there, and they found one. But he was so old that he was actually being put in a small palki, and all over it was cotton around him. He was being looked after like a small child, only skeleton. And when he talked, it was very difficult to listen to him because his voice was also shaky. So they asked him, they said, did you see the Prophet? He said, yes, I saw the Prophet. So they took him to Harun. When Harun saw the vegetable, the skeleton before him, he said, why have you brought him? He said, well, you wanted him, now ask him. So Harun said, do you remember anything what the Prophet said? He said, don't you see I am so old? I remember only one thing. Only one hadith. So Harun said, even if you can tell me one, I would like to listen to from someone who has seen. So he said very slowly and very quietly, said, I heard the Prophet said that as the man gets older and older, the greed within him gets younger and younger. As a man grows older and older, the greed within him becomes younger and younger. So Harun smiled and said, yes, it's very important, very useful hadith. Then he said, thank you for coming and for the pain that you have taken. And then he started paying him some golden coins, some silver coins, some pearls, some good clothes. He paid him and he made him happy. And as he was being lifted back, Harun heard some murmur. So he said, he wants to say something. Listen to him again. He wants to say something. Maybe there's another hadith. So they went and said, yes, Bapa, what do you say? He said, I want to ask him, is it going to be every year? Is this only for once that he has given me, or is he going to give me the second year? At that time Harun said, now I can say Sadaqa Rasulullah. There is no doubt about what the Prophet said, because here is the living example. A man who is at the threshold of death, Gujarati says, Marwa vanke jeevi rayo chhe. A man who is not dying because he is living because he should die at any time. Today, he is still asking for at least one more year. This is how greed becomes younger and younger. And when the people will learn that while we work and we do try and make efforts to earn halal, money and wealth is not all in all. Secondly, we must go to an extent where we don't sacrifice our values. And not only that, but we do not become slaves of the others. Tama and hirs, there are two words which are used in Urdu as one. In Arabic, ilmul akhlaq. Hirs is something else. Tama is something else. Hirs is to go in demand of things beyond your necessity. And tama is to be greedy of the wealth in the hands of others. That means tama is to see that we, even if we have got to beg and be slave of someone, even if we have got to sometimes sacrifice the truth, the Seth must not be displeased. Otherwise, what I am trying to earn from him will stop. As long as that mentality is there, a man can sacrifice everything for the sake of tama. And all, if you look into it, the businesses that we do, how many times people say, Mullah Sahib, business has become very problematic because you say this is haram, this is haram. Allow us, we are not drinking, we are making these people kuffar drunkard. The more they drink, the better. They will harm us less. Busy. The question is that the money that is rolling in by the way of haram may sound very sweet as it rolls in, but each one of it is a flame of fire. Interest, sood. People go on lending money against interest. It comes in. People like it because it comes in, and it comes in good number, in good bulk. Every penny that rolls in by way of interest is a fair flame of fire. Selling of haram things does not or never will allow any family, Muslim or non-Muslim, to flourish. And if you do not know, please go into the history of even non-Muslims and see where every haram money has become a spoke of fire. When Allah lays the principle, that principle is applicable to humankind. Let us understand this. Two things. One, that greed, tama, is not good. That money should not be the way to measure people. That our success in life is not only earning. That we have got to produce from this very community boys who will be thinkers, who will be poets, who will be philosophers, who will be good writers, who will be ulama, secular or religious, but they will have that developed mind, so that this is a society where we have people of intelligence and intellect. But if we have only people of mapesa, as far as this goes, the upper story is always empty. that we can't even present ourselves to the society of intellectuals. If an alim comes here, a thinker comes here, a speaker comes here, anyone comes here, there is hardly anyone who can talk to him. And if at all he will talk to him. If I want to come to Iran, will you give us business? This is the only thing we will ask. How much am I going to earn out of you? These are the questions asked to whom? In my presence, to Iranian ulama. Ulama! Because we have got no other idea in mind but, well, if this is the criterion, then we will soon become failures. Therefore, we have got to see that we don't have a lopsided society. We will have to see that greed is cut off first. Second thing, that we must remember that one day we are going to die, and this life is going to be full of events for which we are going to be answerable tomorrow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask, how did you earn? How did you spend your life? The Prophet said one of the first questions which will be asked is, how did you spend your youth, your young days? These are among the first questions. So I say that if we remember death, and if we also remember that this earth and this world has got a lot to offer to make our next life quite comfortable and reasonably good, and that we may be remembered for the contribution for the welfare of humankind, then we will have to understand that tama, hirs, these things must be cut off from our ways of life, and we must start thinking differently from measuring people only in terms of money, or measuring ourselves also in terms. Early in the morning we rise, Ya Allah. Evening, Ya Allah. Ask him what is wrong. Business is not good. For our people, the business has never been good. When Allah has been giving limitlessly, if you ask, Tikche, you know what is the secret? You don't know the secret. When the business is blessed,